Hey, what's up, everybody? Today I want to talk to you about communism, dun dun dun, and Marxism. So I think in every type of intellectual conversation, or whenever you get to talk about philosophy and politics and these type of things, you eventually are faced with having to think about communism, political systems, economic systems, capitalism. And lately, I've been hearing and I've been seeing these videos on how Marxism failed. Well, because the intention is good, but uh, Marx thought the world was like full of good people with good intentions, and not to be like a pessimist or to say that he wasn't being a realist, but people are complex. They're not, in other words, what does complex mean? Complex means they're not defined as either good or bad. We all have good days, we all have bad days, we all have days we have where we have good intentions, we all have days when we have bad intentions. So the problem with theories or ideas like Marxism or communism is that they think of an ideal man, an ideal human, and they say everyone's like that. So if you just distribute the wealth among everybody, um, then everyone will be happy, right? There won't be social classes, there won't be competition, things like this. Obviously, that there's a lot of flaws in the system, in the ideology, and there's a lot of I would say not strengths, but there's a lot of good in some of the ideas too, right? Like eliminating the poor class or things like that. Um, it's interesting, I think, to me how capitalism actually doesn't. If you think about it, communism first was developed as a theory and then it was put into practice. And capitalism was like the other way around. There's this system of economy that kind of appears, right, with based on competition and free trade and all this stuff, and then slowly it gets defined as an economic system, capitalism, right? So when things just naturally happen, and then you are, I'm not saying that the businessmen are nature or something like that, right? These motherfuckers knew what they were doing, and they set up the system like this. And I say that with a little bit of spite because they're the ones that are benefiting, and they're the ones that keep the lower class down, right? Just working so they can get wealthier and richer and provide more for their families and all this stuff. But it's interesting how this system comes about with a bunch of people, kind of in a democratic or oligarchy way, and then you have the definition, the theory, right? Whereas Marxism or communism first gets defined as a theory with I think Engels and Hegel or someone like that, and Marx, and then slowly it gets put into practice. So we could say that it was just like one man, Marx, I guess. And the problem with these type of theories is that they only reflect the that person's personality, right? Marx was a Taurus, just like me, like Freud, like a lot of famous people that we've known. And the problem with a Taurus is that they have tunnel vision. They only think that their way of viewing the world is the right way, and it's one right way, right? I'm not saying that it's incorrect. Um, so I think if you develop a theory like Marxism, and you say that all men will have good intentions, there's a problem because first of all, not all men are like you. They're not scholars. They're not studying. They're not striving to get ahead. There are people um, that don't really look for that, right? And this takes me to the other topic, which they actually put up Marx versus Darwin, right? And they say that I forgot where I watched it on this YouTube video or something like that. Marx says basically you have to distribute among everybody because everyone's equal, right? And Darwin says nature is basically competitive and it's survival of the fittest, right? So it's kind of interesting how those two fight, those two ideologies fight, and two other ideologies that fight are also power and love, right? And these could be represented throughout history, we could say, with Marx and Jesus, right? So Jesus talked about love, about loving each other, and Marx talked about taking power from the rich and distributing it among everybody, right? Among the lower class and the middle class. So this book I'm reading on the psychology of Mexican and American people talks about how there has to be a balance between love and power. So you need to want to have power, right? But you also need to want to love. And how can you love? How can you show love? You have to show you have to show love when you're most upset, right? So when you're at your worst, you still have to be able or capable of showing love, right? um, there's another idea that says love is the means and power is the goal, right? Normally. Or is it the other way around? What this means is that love is you're using love to get to power because your objective is power, right? You want to influence other people, you want to manipulate and control other people. Or you can have it the other way around and use power, right? Use influence and manipulation and control to love people, right? To show them, which I think kind of makes more sense. But a lot of the times we'll have people using love as a means to get to power, right? Where they should be using power or maybe manipulation to get to a good end, right? I'm not saying that love is good and power is bad, but the connotations typically tell us that that's what it is, right? So I'm going to make another video connecting this a little bit to modernism. This is going to be called Modernism Talk, and I'll see you on the next one.